Welcome back. You're watching Signature Morning on Signature Television. So we're switching topics right now. We talk about this fuel price hike because again, is affected by it. And every single day when you go to the filling station to buy fuel, I know something pricks you. Could this be a dream? Or it's reality that you're buying a liter of fuel for over 1,000 naira. In some places, even 1,400. So that has caused so many problems. The man who is in the farm in the village trying to transport his goods to the town would pay double or even triple the transportation. And so that's the reason why he would push that cost to you and I. And of course, every other thing, basically, going to work, you're going to pay double the price for transportation. And it's not as if that the income, commensurates with some of these expenses that has been exacerbated by the pump price increase that has happened just recently. We have a seasoned journalist with us to talk about the economic uncertainty of this pump price increase. His name is Mr. Mike Obani. He's a publisher of Summit newspaper online. Good to have you.
Thank you very
much.
Good
morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
How do you
Thank you for having me.
I'm just trying to see if I could ask this question relating to how you came here. I'm sure you have been taking transportation and moving around town. What was the cost 1 month ago, and what was the cost now? Has it doubled? Has it tripled? And what has this increase impacted on common man in the street?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I never for once contemplated a situation where the price of fuel or petrol will increase in our country, judging by against the backdrop of the fact that this commodity is produced in Nigeria. It's a God-given commodity. And we were thinking that the fuel will be part of what they call dividends of democracy in Nigeria. I mean, if the price of any commodity rises, is not fuel. You will agree with me that there was a time in this country when the pump price of, the fuel was sold for 11 naira per liter. It went on to 18 naira, it went on to 16 naira, and today we are talking about 1,300, 1,400 naira a liter of fuel. It was never conceivable, really, and it has brought a lot of hardship to Nigerians. Movement from one place to the other has, the transport fare has increased in the last couple of days. Not just increased, when you say increase, for instance, where you were paying 200 naira, today you are paying 500 naira to get to that spot. And it has had a spiraling effect on the prices of other commodities in the country. And since this, before now, there was hardship. But the hardship has been exacerbated by the increase in the pump price of fuel. A lot of people, in fact, coming here this morning, the road was virtually empty because a lot of vehicle owners have withdrawn their vehicles on the road for lack of fuel, or rather lack of purchasing power to fuel their vehicles. So it's a very tough period. A lot of people are agonizing over it. And except government does something and does something urgently, the situation might get out of hand. And don't forget the fact that this is just the tip of the iceberg, because for me, I feel that this is September and December is fast approaching. We may get to that situation at that point where a liter of fuel will cost 2,000. Already it is 1,400. By December, we'll be talking about 2,000 naira.
NLC came out to say that we'd expect it to be sold for 5,000 naira per liter. We're praying and hoping that it doesn't get to that.
It will get to that. Given the way things are going, it's an industry that is not well managed, well controlled. It's an industry that is infested with corruption. And that's why we have the situation we have on the ground. That's why we are facing this problem. And you ask yourself, you know, this is a product that is excavated from Nigeria. In the wisdom of our past leaders, beginning from the military government, you know, they had the wisdom of constructing refineries, first in Port Harcourt in 1965. You know, we have the Port Harcourt refinery. We have a second refinery in Port Harcourt. Then we have Warri refinery. We have Kaduna refinery. And today we have Dangote refinery, which is about 650,000 barrels of oil per day. And we have other modular refineries. There is one in Edo. There is one, I mean, we have, on the whole, we have about 8 refineries in Nigeria. And you ask yourself, why are these refineries not functional?
No, I mean, before Dangote came up, everybody was happy that, okay, finally, Dangote can now start rolling. I mean, apart from the government coming out to say that Port Harcourt is going to start working by July, and then July came and passed. They said August came and passed. Now, September again. September today is already 12th. Now, a lot of people were happy that Dangote finally came up. But now we're having to see NNPCL having a relationship that is not well defined from the Nigerians to the government. How do we now explain this? Dangote came, we all were happy, but we are having issues again.
That's why I said there is corruption in the system. Don't forget the fact that at a point, the NNPC said that the fuel that is emanating is going to emanate from Dangote refineries of low quality. And it was a national debate, actually. And which means that Dangote, if we had followed that narrative, which means that Dangote's fuel will not be circulated in Nigeria and will not be approved for export. But the same NNPC came back to say, we shall be the sole distributor of this same product that they had earlier considered unfit for consumption. They said they will be the sole distributor. That tells you that there is something wrong. That tells you that the authorities or the NNPC doesn't want Dangote refinery to operate because they know the effect that it will have on the refineries that are abroad, which for me, I think that these Nigerians are co-owners of these refineries. And once Dangote refinery is allowed to function optimally, even, tangentially or peripherally, their businesses abroad, as far as the refining of petroleum, will collapse. And that's why we have this argument of Dangote, will he produce or he will not produce. Except we come back to tell ourselves the truth. Except, Nigerians who handle oil, the oil industry are patriotic. Except they come out of their greedy lane and, will continue to be in this situation, really. And it's for me, I keep saying that it appears that there is a relationship or there is an agreement between owners of refineries abroad, like in Malta, and Nigerians to say, for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, Nigeria will be supplying us with crude oil. That agreement for me is there. For me, that's what I think, that it is there. And when anybody comes to, interfere with the flow of crude oil to the refineries abroad, there will be this reminder that, remember that we have an agreement with you that will be supplying us crude oil. Otherwise, I don't see why a country, the biggest, the largest country in Black Africa, with a population of over 200 million people, I don't see why we cannot manage simple refinery. I remember during the war that refineries were everywhere. You can move, build a refinery here in Enugu tomorrow, if something happens, you transfer the refinery to other places, and the petroleum supply of petrol was not part of the problems that the Biafrans experienced in the course of the war. But here we are in peacetime. Here we have all the technology that we need to refine oil. Yet we are in this kind of mess. It's really a pity. And we have very educated Nigerians. We have how many universities in the country? Too many universities. Well-educated Nigerians. When I see some of them speak on in seminars and all that, I say, well, Nigeria is blessed. But how are we applying the knowledge that we have? And we allow hoodlums and ragamuffins to be in control of our affairs. It's too unfortunate, very, very unfortunate, and the situation is biting very, very hard.
Two key issues. Part of the reasons why, the government looks at the papers and the numbers and keeps increasing the fuel pump price is the fact that some of these people, when they get this fuel, they smuggle this fuel outside the country through our porous borders. And the prices of fuel or outside, even neighboring Benin Republic, Cameroon, are far higher than what we have here. So someone buys for 600 from NNPC and smuggles it outside to make gains, to sell as high as even 1.5. And they use CFAs in those areas. And CFAs is way higher than the Naira. So in order to mitigate these issues, this smuggling, to stop people from smuggling this fuel outside the country, the government is trying to increase the pump price so that it could actually somehow meet that standard. Because if you buy that product here in Nigeria for that price, you won't make so much gain. You won't make any gain at all. They're trying to see that, smuggling it across to sell it for something higher and then making money.
Yeah, we should run away. We should run away from that. That's one argument.
Let me bring the second one, because you're going to just take them together. Can you bring yourself to the thought that the Minister of Petroleum, who is the president, can actually sabotage the country? Because you have mentioned just here that that the people in government are the ones that are making this country, or that are making this chaos that we have in NNPC problematic. We haven't been able to find the solution. NNPC, to the extent of what they have told us, it's been privatized. And then the Minister of Petroleum in Nigeria is the president. Can you bring yourself to that thought that the minister, who is also the president, can sabotage the country to the point of saying that, he probably has an interest in the refineries abroad, and so because of that, do you think in that direction?
No, there are indices to tell you that there is an in-house sabotage. I mean, the president, who is also the minister of petroleum, if he's sincere, if he's patriotic enough, he should have done everything that is humanly possible. He should have done everything that is humanly possible to ensure that just one refinery in Nigeria is working. That is one of the ways to demonstrate that he is not part of this problem. Remember, in Nigeria, what happens is that when the government goes, another government comes, they want to do the part of the previous government, because it looks as if it's rub my back, I rub your back. Nobody wants to hurt the other. Don't forget the fact that these big men are in one club. They belong to one club, and they don't want to hurt themselves. I don't want to think that the president, as the petroleum minister, doesn't know the benefits of refining, the benefits derivable from refining crude oil in the country. Is it rocket science? I said we have all that it takes to make just one refinery working. And because there is this inactivity on the part of the leadership, on the part of the president, who is the minister of petroleum, because Port Harcourt refinery is not working, because Warri refinery is not working, because Kaduna, don't forget the fact that these refineries were built by Nigerians. The military built these refineries. And the military had, there was a reason behind the construction of refineries. Let's refine our products within Nigeria. The military did not even stop there. The military now constructed pipelines from Port Harcourt, for instance, to Enugu, from Enugu to Makurdi, and so on and so forth. The idea was, instead of moving refined products by trucks and all that, it will flow in the ground through pipeline to get to the. So this idea of bridging of petroleum, this idea of differential pricing of petroleum products will not arise. Nigerians did that. The military did that. And I'm asking myself, and I'm asking you, asking the public, why is it that the president, the successive civilian governments in Nigeria have not been able to fix our refineries? Every year, they provide money for turnaround maintenance. And in some instance, I was just looking at the statistics last night, and I found out that even some of the money they provide for turnaround maintenance for some refineries are bigger than the amount that was used to construct those refineries. It's a very annoying situation. I am saying the president, as the minister of petroleum, has the capacity to say, hey, I want the Port Harcourt refinery to be up and running in 1 month, in 2 months, but we have not seen that. And the tendency is for one to think that there is something that is going on in that industry which I and you are not aware of.
Yeah, so there's a school of thought. NLC came out to speak up against this fuel hike and all of that. And then you saw what happened with Ajero. He was arrested, not even allowed to travel out of the country. Serap came out again to say, oh, this thing is too much, reduce the hybrid. And then Serap headquarters in Lagos was attacked. Do you think that there is a direct connection between people who even want to speak up against this fuel hike being, let me use for lack of a better word, attacked by the government?
So that's what I've been hammering. That's what I've been hammering. The government does not want a situation where the flow of crude from Nigeria, to their refineries abroad will be cut. Okay, because if you are talking about reducing the price of the pump price of oil, if you are talking about that, it will affect them. It will affect them in the sense that the profit they make out of these exercise, this criminal transaction will no longer be there. So they will keep our refineries down, and they will keep increasing the cost, the pump price of fuel, so that I and you will suffer while the bank accounts, grow. So, I mean, any patriotic president, any patriotic leader, any patriotic minister of petroleum, were we hearing about increase in fuel before? I mean, you just go to the filling station, you buy your fuel, you don't even know whether how much they are selling fuel. But today you enter a filling station, you say, how much are they selling? You look at the pump and say, oh, okay, these people are selling 1,200. The other one is selling 1,000. So I mean, we cannot continue like this. There must be something must be done to get once you get our refineries working, all these problems will be eased, if not, completely eradicated. The message out there to the government is that let our refineries work. If our refineries are working, look at a country like Singapore. Singapore has no single oil, but Singapore has the largest and the most functional refinery in the world. And they are using what they have to get what they need, which is their technology. So let's take our oil, the oil that we have. Don't forget the fact that the essence of government is the provision of security and welfare of the people. Is the government providing your welfare? Is the government providing for your welfare? The answer is no. Is the government providing for your security? The answer is no. And so what are we talking about? The government should sit down and tell themselves that the people are suffering, that there is a way that we can apply, there are other ways we can apply to get, use what we have to get what we need. What we have is that oil, the most single largest revenue earner for the country is the oil. So why are we toying away with the oil? Why are we not in a position to make proper use of this oil by ensuring that the crude oil is refined in the country, and that even if, look at the NNPC saying that Dangote oil will sell at the international market. Can you imagine that that the price at the international market?
After selling to him, after selling crude to him
in
Naira.
It will sell at
dollar rate. I mean, it's
there's something in the government. There's something in government that makes people behave as if they are no more human beings. As if they are, of course, they are not feeling the pains I and you are feeling, because their food is free, their air transport is free, their vehicle, movement here and there is free. And my brothers,
let me ask you this, because so many states are now beginning to adopt several styles of working. Lagos says introducing work from home policy, and those states is also doing almost the same thing, because they had. So I'm supposed to have, resumed school. They had to shut down because of the pump price increase. So many states are adopting different measures. What for you is a direct impact to the common man? And do you think this adoption of work from home policy, would really help? Because again, so many people will think that, is it not from the activities of man, movement from one place to another, that sales and businesses are made? If people stop coming out and maybe start working from home, does it in any way change anything? Does it improve our system? Just in a few minutes.
No, it doesn't improve our economy, because, how many people are employed in the public service? A large number of people are self-employed, and they have to move from one location to the other. So if you say civil servants should stay at home and work, thank God that we are in the age of technology, digital economy, and all that. That's fine for those in the civil service, public service. But what about the artisans? What about those who are privately employed, who accept they move from one place, from their house to another place they cannot feed in a day? And let me tell you, if it is a government that is foresighted, if it's a government that is visionary, one of the things that the government ought to have talked about is an alternative mode of transportation. Yes, not everybody can move or use fuel to move. They go abroad. Our leaders go abroad. When they go to UK, they go to America. When they go to China. When Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was there, she traveled to China. And instead of moving by road, she moved by train. And she got us shots, about her entering the train, So, but unfortunately, our leaders have refused to create alternative means of transportation in the country. Assuming that the railway is there. For instance, this morning I came from Emene, and there's a railway line there leading to
the Holy Ghost.
The Holy Ghost. If that rail line is functional, all I need to do is to enter train and stop maybe somewhere close to this place and walk down. But those things are not there. And these are the things that we see in developed countries, and it doesn't take rocket science, to put those things function on the ground. But our leaders will not do it, because when they do that, the profit that would have come to them through all these things they are doing with fuel will no longer be there. So one should advocate for the resuscitation of the railways system in the face of the increasing price of the pump price of fuel, and so that we stop this idea. We have gone beyond inflation. What we are going through now is what economists call stagflation, which is hyperinflation, where the goods and services, are continuously increasing without a corresponding increase in jobs, without a corresponding increase in business activities. So that's what is happening. We must be able to provide. If you go to a country like Netherlands, for instance, you see boys, you see people riding bicycles. You see people, school children riding bicycles to school. They just hang their bag at the back, mount on their bicycle. They are off to school. How many children in Nigeria ride bicycle to school? They can't do that because there are no roads to do for that. Those the Netherlands I'm talking about, they have a good road. They have they have a lane where bicycle riders should use. But that kind of thing is not available in Nigeria. So if I'm a child, if I'm a student, and I have that means of using bicycle to school, I don't care about how much you sell your fuel. But I'm sure a lot of when the late Joe Madekwe was alive, he was using bicycle in Abuja, and we were laughing at him. And the situation, he was foresighted in a way. He knew that the time will come when it will be difficult for Nigerians to move from one end to another, and he introduced bicycle riding. The government didn't take him serious. So things like bicycle riding are other means of transportation, which, if we are serious, we should adopt bicycle.
But then now, to even get a bicycle is quite expensive right now, very expensive. So now, because of time, looking at the current state of Nigeria, what do you think is the future of our economy?
The economy is bleak. And except that the surgical operation.
Is it bleak for the Nigerian people or bleak for the government? Because government is looking like, look, this is the right decision to make.
No, the government is at its government. There is enjoyment there. At that level of government, there's enjoyment. Otherwise, one should not buy a new jet for so billions of naira. The time that Nigerians are going through hell, you don't think about renovating the residence of the vice president. With 21 billion naira at this time. That's why I said they have not reduced the number of aides they have in government. They have not reduced the number of vehicles in their convoy. I mean, the president.
Someone said that all of this was a necessity.
No, what kind of necessity? And we know some of them now. We know some of them were before they became what they are. We know some of them that they had nothing. They couldn't put food on the table before they became what they are today. But they have left us, and we are like dregs of the society. They are treating us like dregs of the society. And he talked about the economy, my brother.
Yes.
He talked about the economy. It will take God's intervention to revive this economy. When Buhari, for instance, was campaigning for presidency, one thought that he was serious about reviving the economy. Every day he talked about the number of Nigerian industries, companies that had collapsed. He talked about Nigerian shipping line. He talked about Nigerian airways. He talked about the Kwiboku manufacturing, this Kwiboku that manufactures newsprint. He talked about so many things, including our refineries. And we thought that if the man comes into office, that he will resuscitate this economy. And when you talk about unemployment, and these industries have collapsed, how are you going to employ people when if these industries have collapsed? And when the workforce is whittled down, you don't talk about economic growth. When there is huge unemployment, you don't talk about economic growth. When the industries, factories that ought to employ people and manufacture for export are not there. You don't talk about economic growth when the staple crop, which is crude oil, cannot be you are not being able to manage that crop. You don't talk about economic growth when people are living in droves to developed countries, what we call Japa today. You don't talk about economic growth when you put square pegs in round holes, like what we see at the federal government level and at the state level. You don't talk about economic development when the electoral umpire refuses to announce the people who win elections. Rather, they will announce those who were able to grease their palms. So it will take a surgical operation for our economy to revive. It will take social engineering between I and you, to get you to love your country. Because what is happening now today, that it appears that everybody is on his own, and that's explains why some people, with the slightest opportunity, they are off. They're off the country. So we have what it takes to be. President Bola Tinubu said he wants to make Nigeria he wants Nigeria to be like China. And I just laughed. I said, how can you make Nigeria to be like China when there is so much corruption in the system? Corruption, China couldn't have been what it is today if the gale of corruption that we have in Nigeria is existent in China. China has a zero tolerance for corruption.
Absolutely.
When people steal government money, you prosecute them, and if they are found guilty, you jail them. Where is Yahaya Bello today? The man they said alleged that he stole 81 billion naira. Is he not being shielded by the authorities? Is he not being shielded by the government?
Right.
Is the Nigerian government telling us that they don't know the whereabouts of Yahaya Bello? Why are they treating Yahaya Bello with kid gloves? So when you have that kind of situation where people who steal public funds are not prosecuted, and the money retrieved from them, how can you grow your economy? So right. It's a very difficult thing to achieve. But may God help us to get leaders who will be compassionate, who will be passionate about the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
Amen.
Who will be interested in the welfare, prosperity, and security of the people. I think that one day we'll get there.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael Bani.
Thank you. Thank you.
The publisher of Summit Newspaper Online. Many thanks for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for calling me. Thank you.
All right.